5-7 the game, KGNCF.
Who has more desirable trade pieces?
Let me read the legal. AC-17 says call, and somebody pays for this. And Odyssey Sports Station, always live on the free Odyssey app. Mike Valenti joins us on the River Islands guest line. All guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line. Is it a time for you to discover the islands, River Islands and Lathrop? We're going around the league looking at the top NFC opponents here for the 49ers. And, of course, we had a dandy in the NFC Championship game, and I was scared as hell. I was praying at halftime because the Lions did whatever they wanted to do in that first half, up 24-7, and really should have won the football game. Mike, good morning, man. Welcome to the Morning Rolls here, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. How you doing today?
Great. How about yourself? It's good to be here.
Good to be here as well. So how's the city of Detroit overcome that devastating loss in the NFC title game? There was a lot of Lion fans at Levi Stadium. I shook a lot of hands because I felt for them. That was their game. The Niners had no business winning that football game. But it feels like from before that, hey, Lions fans are excited to go, to run this back. How are Lions fans getting over that loss here, Mike?
Yeah, I think it's hope. I mean, look, guys, the reality is, too, is it's a lot like in the NBA. You got to fail before you win. You got to learn how to do it. And the Lions, they've gone 70 years without doing anything. So, yeah, I mean, it was their game. But the Niners have championship DNA. Like, they've been through those battles. They've been through situations like that. So, yeah, I think experience caught up with them. And obviously, a lot had to go right if you're a Niners fan, had to go wrong if you're a Lions fan. But that's football. That's the stuff we're looking. The days following it, guys. I like Dan Campbell. I mean, he's fun. He's a damn good coach, and the players will run through a wall for him. But reality is, there was a little bit of Madden in him as far as the video game. Like, dude, you got to take a field goal, go up 3 scores. You got to take the points one time for me. And just 2 weeks prior to the game, 3 weeks prior to the game, what he did in Dallas, remember?
Yeah.
Penalty. Yeah. You're going for 2 from like the 8-yard line. Like
7 times in a row?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? At that point, you're just a frustrated video game player. Like, chill. Let's take this thing to OT. So, look, I think some of that has to happen in order for you to get where you finally want to go. And look, they're a young team. I think that's the other thing. You know, the Niners are filled with guys. I think the playoff experience, you guys had like 150 playoff starts. The Lions had like 6. So it's all a part of the process.
Yeah, I thought Hutchinson was just caving things in that first half of the NFC Championship game, and then things slowed down for them as a whole. But giving Jared Goff the money, how was that received by everybody in Detroit? Because I thought his second half wasn't that great in that game. Not that you're not going to not pay a guy because of it, but I think a lot of people from before are like, wow, you're giving Goff that much money?
Yeah, but it's it's funny, and like I'm originally from New York, and I'm still a Giants fan, and my listeners know that. I mean, my Giants suck. And they got put in the same trap, which is you win your division, you win a playoff game, you pay your quarterback. Well, great. Now I'm stuck with Daniel Jones in a neck brace. The reality is when people cry about, oh, my God, you're giving your QB what? Okay, well, what are my options? Am I handing over a Super Bowl caliber team to a third-round pick on a blown ACL and Hendon Hooker? What quarterback is mystically going to descend to me in free agency? The answer is 0. And I wasn't picking high enough in the draft to go get a lottery ticket and take a Drake May or a Caleb Williams. So, look, all Goff has done coming to town is reinvigorate his career, play Pro Bowl caliber football. Does he have his limitations? Of course he does. But the reality is if you're only going to accept Mahomes or Joe Burrow as your guy, then you're just going to go a lifetime without ever being happy. So I just tried to tell people, like, yeah, you don't have to say he's perfect. He's not one of the 3 or 4 best QBs in the league. Is he one of the 10 to 12? Yes. Is it good enough to win a Super Bowl? Yes. Are you going to have to highly insulate him and protect him? Well, yeah, that's his weakness. He doesn't run a 4.3 40. But generally speaking, people were good with it. But then you have the lunatic fringe that's like, no, it's a waste of money. And I'm like, all right, well, what are your options? And then you hear like the phone fall out of their hand and bounce off the floor. So, I don't know where you guys stand, but like the Purdy thing is a thing. Yeah. Purdy's fine enough. I don't think he's a superstar, but get ready. Dak's going to get his deal in the next couple of weeks. And the Purdy conversation is going to ratchet to a level that is going to make people very uncomfortable with the number attached to it. That's the structure of the sport. That's where we are. Your quarterback's going to make 20% of your cap.
Yeah, no, Mike Valenti here on the Morning Ross on 95.7 The Game. The Valenti Show with Rico out in 97.1 in Detroit. And you're spot on with, we're having the Purdy conversations right now. Hell, we're having the Brandon Ayuk conversation. People don't want to pay the wide receiver. Well, he's brought Purdy's top target in the pass game for crying out loud. So we've kind of Purdy won us over. He had a spectacular season, one of the best single seasons for a 49ers quarterback that a franchise has had. John Brody, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jeff Garcia, and of course, Jimmy Garoppolo, who helped his team get to a Super Bowl. So that conversation will come. But going back to the Lions here, where do they still need work? Where do they still need work here to take that extra step? I mean, hell, you took a big step last year going into the Final Four. What's that next step look like for Detroit? Where do they still need work, Mike?
Yeah, I think there's two. I mean, if you want to talk from a roster construction, I mean, everybody in the league will always say, I need another pass rusher. You know, I'd love to see him get in the Matthew Judon sweepstakes. I like their pass rush. I think James Houston being healthy this year will help them. They need to give Aiden Hutchinson some help. He plays too many snaps. He gets gassed. He gets worn out. They need a partner in crime for him. You know, they brought in Marcus Davenport, which I'm very whatever on. The guy's never healthy. But I think the other thing, they're going to be relying on young corners. Would love to see a veteran corner off the street. You know, look, Terry and Arnold, very excited about him. I think Rakestraw, he's a bulldog of a corner from Mizzou. So, like, I like what they did. But it's like little things. Guys, I think the biggest thing has very little to do with the roster. It's they have to make the transition the Niners made, which is going from the hunter to the hunted. And that's brutally difficult in the NFL. And you guys know it. The Niners come to town. That's everybody's Super Bowl. You're going to get their A game. And that's something the Lions just haven't experienced. So I think that's going to be their biggest challenge. Every week, somebody's going to come to take your head off because you're not cute anymore and you're not surprising anybody.
Yeah, their front office to me has been the most impressive. I mean, obviously the Stafford Goff trade is a great one, and then moving in the draft to get yourself a stud running back who I think is going to have a breakout year. Laporta looks like a star. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, like watching the receiver doc. I mean, you heard Dan Campbell, like this is the guy. This guy's our heart and soul. He's our tone setter. How can you not come away loving that guy from that team? The question I'm at right now is this offseason, though, are they a better team on paper heading into this year than they were last year?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it's hard to quantify it. And if you guys think it's a cop-out, you can call me out on it. I think because they have 6, 7, 8 legitimate stars under the age of 25, you can chalk up the answer to say yes, just based on, you know, a linear progression path for some of these guys. You know, like, should Gibbs be a little bit better this year? Yeah. Should Laporta? Yeah. You know, Penei Sewell is trending to be the next Trent Williams type tackle. Gosh. He's just a monster, and he's mean.
Yeah. Real quick, Mike, I saw him pancake a dude on the first play of the game in the NFC title game, and just watching him, he was standing by the Niners starting introductions, looking at every member of the 49ers, just me-mugging him. I was like, oh, boy, this guy's nasty. This guy is legit.
You know what's funny, too, is like he played at a program at Oregon that a lot of people think is soft, which is kind of a past tense thing. I think Dan Lanning's building an SEC program. But if you queue up like highlights of him as a true freshman playing at 350 pounds, I mean, guys, he was at like the third level. He was blocking a trombone player 30 yards down the field. Like, he's just a freak. He's built different. And look, I think they're going to be better based on development. I wish they would have gone all in on a pass rusher. They decided to go get Carlton Davis. My issue with Carlton Davis, guys missed 16 games the last 3 years, no less than 4 in each year, and his play has declined. You know, people in Tampa were not exactly crying that Carlton Davis was jettisoned. So, look, they're trusting their process. It's hard for me to knock Brad Holmes. Everybody he drafts, he's like John Lynch 2.0, where it's like 3 out of every 4 draft picks, you're like, how the hell did we get this guy?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like letting it roll. But, yeah, they should be better on paper, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. They also had great injury luck last year. Let's be very clear.
Yeah, I know. I thought Laporta was done after that playoff game, and then he came back miraculously. Hey, we're up against it, but is that the best division in the NFL? Yeah. I know these things flip quickly. Minnesota, I don't know. Chicago looks promising.
I like Chicago.
Green Bay is going to pay their quarterback. They gave the Niners everything they could handle. And then obviously Detroit feels like the next 49er team where they're going to go on a 5-year run. Is that, in your estimation, the best division in football?
I mean, it's right there. I think it's that, or it's, you know, Baltimore and Pittsburgh and Cleveland, you know, and Cincy. But yes, and I mean, look, Lion fans are already upset at me because I'm like, guys, you better be careful. This division isn't yours. Green Bay is here to stay. And Jordan Love looks like a top 5 QB. And then I'm with you guys completely. I think the Bears are going to be a ball breaker this year.
Ooh.
I think they are going to beat some teams. I think they could get 8 or 9 wins and be super pesky. They've assembled a ton of talent, and that defense is top 7 in the league.
You saw that defense late last year. You guys got away with one at Ford Field. The Lions did when they came back. They're down 12 with like 4 minutes left. And then Soldier Field, they beat the dog crap out of the Lions at Soldier Field. That Bears defense looks like a top 5 unit. And then if Caleb with those weapons, I've been saying on these airways, I think they could make the playoffs. I really do.
I think, you know what? And after what Stroud did last year, if you have an infrastructure, anything's possible. So if he's 80% of what people think he is, I have no disagreement. Yeah, this division is going to be nasty. And I think look, I'm letting fans have their euphoria, we're going 15-2. I'm like, guys, how about 11 or 12 wins when we start there? Nobody wins 15 games.
Mike, you're a really good interview. We want to have you on again.
Real quick before we let you go, 30 seconds less. How are you guys viewing the 49ers? How are Lion fans looking at the Niners now?
Yeah.
They're the Kings. You got to knock them off. I mean, I have a great amount of respect for what John Lynch and Shanahan have done, and you absolutely should already have a Super Bowl. I'm not. We don't need to open either of those wounds.
Yeah, we don't need to.
Look,
we've been depressed.
You're in the throne until somebody dethrones you. So my advice to Lion fans is you best lock up home field advantage and have San Francisco come to Ford Field, because otherwise you're asking for a problem.
Yeah, we would love to come travel to Ford Field. That's for sure. Maybe not the playoffs,
my list.
but we do. I definitely like Detroit. I've been up there once in Ford Field, and that whole area next to Comerica Park and the casinos up there. It's a lot of fun. But Mike, man, really good stuff. Man.
It's not scary.
It's not scary. No, I was up there. Right. I was up there in 2010.
We walked through Philadelphia and got beer thrown at us, hot dogs.
Yeah, that was different.
Spitting at us. They were swinging. It was insane.
True story, Mike. I was there for a Lions-Rams game when Sean Hill lit it up and they beat the Rams like 45-6. Javit Best was playing running back. I got like $40 ticket. I couldn't get a ticket to Michigan State, so I got like tickets to Lions-Rams for like half the price.
We love Sean Hill here.
We do love Sean Hill.
Sean Hill era. We all celebrate it. There's going to be a 30 for 30 coming up.
Exactly.
Mike, take care, man. Thanks for the time this morning.
You got it. Absolutely.
Mike Valenti, the Valenti Show with Rico, 97.1 in Detroit. He's really, really good. Really, really good. We'll react to that coming up on the other side. Brought